Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking about how to harvest a sheet of tin from a regular pop can for the purpose of embossing.
My advice is to get the best piece of tin from your can is to use one of those tall cans, like a Peace Tea or Arizona iced tea, but I don't have any of those, so I'm just using a regular can of soda. You can do this with an empty can, but a full can is best because it's still got the pressure inside, so it's going to make it a lot easier to take the paint off, which is where we're starting today. So once you've gathered your tin can, you want to get a piece or two of sandpaper. I've got two different grits here, a heavy grit and a fine grit. You don't necessarily need two different grits. One would be okay, but a heavy grit is going to work best. If you don't have sandpaper, you can also use a piece of steel wool, like those woolen scrubby pads from your kitchen, or maybe you have one in a drawer somewhere, something like that. That will work really well. You just want something really abrasive, because the first step is we are going to try and take the paint off the outside of the can. You're going to notice that I'm about, a quarter of the way around. I just wanted to stop and kind of show a little bit about the sanding. You want to press fairly firmly, not crazy hard, but you're not going to be able to get around the lip of the can. You don't really need to. We're probably going to end up cutting that part off. So you just want to focus on sanding the sides of the can. I've managed to get most of the paint off the outside of my can. You can see it's kind of messy. So I'm just going to take a damp paper towel and sort of wipe the surface, and you'll be able to see after that if you missed any spots, and it'll be a lot cleaner to work with. I'm at the stage where I'm now feeling pretty good about the smoothness and the cleanliness of my tin can. So I'm just about ready to start cutting this apart to be able to harvest the tin, which is the exciting part, so we can get to the embossing. So the next step would be to empty out the liquid, because we're going to cut the can open to harvest the sheet of tin that we've prepared. Make sure to give your can a little rinse with some clean water, just to make sure that it's not sticky and icky on the inside. Then you're going to take either a craft knife or a pair of scissors. And this part, please be very careful, because obviously we're working with some sharp objects, so we don't want anybody to cut their fingers. So we're going to start by just making a little cut or a little poke right at the top of our can. We want to get as much of the surface area as possible. So I've made a little cut with my craft knife, and I think for the rest I'm going to use scissors to kind of cut this open all the way around. Now, again, be really careful. We have some pretty jagged edges, and we'll clean those up in a minute. But for now, please just be aware that you don't want to cut your finger. So the next thing is I'm going to make a cut straight down the side of the can, right to the very bottom. Oh, there's some water. And then I'm going to now cut around the base of the can the same way as I did around the top. So I've harvested my sheet of tin, but as you can see, it's not very straight, and I've still got some really angry edges, and I don't want to end up cutting myself. So what I recommend for the next step is trying to tidy this up just a little bit. All right, there we go. I'm pretty pleased with it. It's not 100% straight, but it doesn't matter, because I'm going to be using this for embossing which is kind of the next step.
So that, my friends, is how you harvest a sheet of tin from a soda can. Please see the next video for techniques on embossing.